I'd like to call this meeting to order of the December 5th, 2016 City Council meeting. If you'll please rise for the pledge and then continue rising for invocation by Mr. Jared Griffiths. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that you've brought us during this time of drought, Lord. We thank you for the city of Carrollton and the opportunity to be in a free country, Lord. I just ask that you help the leaders of Carrollton have the wisdom to make the right decisions for the citizens of this community and for the growth and prosperity of this community. Please bless this meeting and the decisions that are made tonight. In your name, amen.
Please be seated. At this time, we'll go into the item number 4, citizens' comments. Anybody like to address the council? If you would step to the platform and state your name, address, please limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
How you doing? I'm Dylan Gilbert. I live at Spring Street.
I'm Brett Hicks. I live at 116 Spring Street. And we were coming today about, I talked to Roy a few times about speeding on Spring Street and our concerns. Currently we have 9 kids within just a small few houses on our block, plus the playground and the library. And speeding is, people fly. That's all I can say. I have a 2-year-old. He has a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they did some measures on Rome Street, which we talked about, with a stop sign. Well, now people, instead of cutting through Rome Street, they come down to Spring Street and cut up, so they don't have to do the stop signs. So we have increased traffic and increased speeding, and we have the playground, our kids, and the library, which you are fixing to do renovation to, which we're very thankful for, but it's just going to be more kids. And we're just afraid somebody's going to get hit eventually. And then last week, we had a police chase that ended literally in his front yard, which, again, we're very thankful for the police. There was nothing on their part, but the guy was just cutting through. Everybody knows that is the cut-through road. He's cutting through, running from the police, hits their yard, flips in the air. If they didn't live up on a hill, he would have been in there. Kitchen or bedrooms where their kids are. And again, the police, excellent. They very professional. We know they're doing their job, but the guy just knew it was a cut through. If we had speed humps or something right there, he wouldn't go through there if everybody knew it was there. So that's what we're coming tonight, is just to address the speeding and the increased traffic on Spring Street. So
I disagree with everything he said. We
talking
talk about
about
it a lot. We see it a lot. So
All right.
I agreed to come up here with him, and it just obviously an unfortunate event that ended up last week with the police and vehicle in my front yard taking out my fence. So kind of pushed the issue with me to come up here a little bit more and express my concern that if there's any options as far as speed humps, anything of that nature that can be explored on that street, because not necessarily just from a selfish nature, but I mean there's a lot of kids that walk to the park, to the library, and I mean this car took out the fire hydrant in front of the library, so it's luckily it was at 9 o'clock at night. Nobody was walking down the street, but it would have killed somebody if they'd have been on that sidewalk right then, because he was moving. He took out a good bit of property in that area.
All right, sir. We'll look into it.
We'll get Mr. Holland, the city engineer, and we'll have him look at it, and there's a lot of different measures he could put in place, but he'll figure out what's the best thing to do for the
and again, we're thankful for everything, the library and all the stuff y'all are doing. It creates a lot of traffic and kids. So
Unfortunately, we're growing.
that's right. And everybody's out and about, So, and I'm sure it's a major concern, not on our street, but probably the streets around the square. I'm sure everybody. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming up. Is anyone else?
Mayor. My name is Brian Jackson. I'm at 150 Cottage Lane Senior Living. And I'm just coming about the 138 College Hill Road project. I was just reading conflicting stories in the advertising. Is it for seniors living or is it multifamily living? Just want to get clarity if we promote it as senior living. Is it not going to change later on and become public living so anybody can live there? So I just wanted to make sure those and then the safety of the seniors are at the forefront when when you all decide whether to approve this project on 138 Cottage Hill Road.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Going once, going twice, gone. Number 5, minutes. Approval of the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hands. 3-0. Number 6, approval of agenda items for consideration. We've got a couple items we need to add. Tim, you want to take that?
I'd like to add items 9 and 10, 9 being a resolution 31-2016, which is the transfer of ownership of the Harry W. Morgan building. It's also called the CAFE or the Head Start building over on Fulbright, and transfer that ownership to the city school system. And I'll get into more detail when that item comes up. And then item 10 would be to set the calendar for the mayor and council meetings for the 2017 calendar year.
I assume that y'all ready to vote on the agenda. Anything you want to add or subtract?
I'll make a motion to add those 2 items.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Recognition, Central High School softball team, 2016 Quad A state champions. How many of y'all in the room? All right. Are you going to help me with this?
I will.
Whereas the 2016 Central High School Fast Pitch Softball team on October 29, 2016 won the Georgia High School Association Class Quad A Fast Pitch Softball Tournament, and whereas we know that a special commendation is due of all the members of the 2016 Central High School Fast Pitch Softball team. Coaches Dan McKinnon, Nathan Urquhart, thank you, Ken Minnick, and Melanie Spada. And where now therefore be it resolved that I, Walt Hollingsworth, by virtue of authority vested in me, Mayor of the City of Carrollton, on behalf of all the citizens, do hereby extend this expression of our pride in your accomplishment, your outstanding spirit and dedication and enthusiasm, and be it further resolved that a copy of the resolution shall be delivered to each member of the following 2016 school. Faith Bennett, is she here? Abby Cook, Joni Cook, Maddie Dodson, Madison Donnelly, Haley Verheen, Jody Garner, Peyton Groves, Micah Harris, Adie Lyle, Lucy Gray McKenzie, Logan North, Kaylee Sales, Shirley Sharp, Emily Williams, Adrian Wood, head coach Mr. Dave McKenna, assistant coaches Mr. Urquhart, Ken Minnick, Mackenzie Spadell, bus driver Stuart Lewis, stats and equipment Pam and Craig Dotson. I just need glasses. They're light up here. Letters got to run again.
6 o'clock.
Health insurance.
Text Joan and ask her. She don't know when the fire department.
Oh, I just got
Did it
a
already take place?
I don't have. I mean, I just need a pair of bigger set of cheaters. Roy, recognition, Clay Wolf Ward.
All right. I'm going to read this recognition, but first I'd just like to say when I saw on Facebook is when I saw what Clay Wolf Ward. Wolf Clay, what do you want?
Everybody knows me as Wolf.
All right, Wolf. We're calling you Wolf today. What you did to save the driver's life in that car. It showed a display of courage that we want to recognize. I know it was just outside the city, but or what? Yep, perfect. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And I'm just going to read this for you here. Clay Wolf Ward acted in a courageous manner and risked his own life to save the life of a stranger on November 6, 2016. And whereas Clay Wolf Ward was the first to arrive on the scene of an accident where the young driver of the vehicle was trapped and the vehicle was filling with smoke, and having heard the young driver's cry for help, without hesitation, Wolf sought a sharp object to cut the young driver free, pulling him to safety just before the vehicle was fully engulfed in flames. And whereas this courageous action, which averted what could have been a tragic loss in the young driver's family, friends, and community, was an act of extreme valor, and deserves special recognition by the mayor and city council. And therefore, I do hereby tender this certificate of recognition with the deepest gratitude and sincere appreciation of the city of Carrollton, its governing body, and all of the citizenry to Clay Wolf Ward for his selfless and heroic action.
Awesome.
On to number 3, Resolution 27-216, Library Expansion Project. Mr. Grizzard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, this mayor and council allotted $1 million to go toward the library renovation and expansion. Carroll County allotted $500,000, and then there is a $2 million grant from the state of Georgia. There are specific requirements for the use of that grant that all of the money go into a construction account that is oversaw by the library itself. There is a library construction committee that has been formed, and the resolution before you would codify that and would grant the approval of this city council. This authorizes the city manager to transfer the $1 million as needed into that checking account. It names myself and Ronnie Tewksbury as the co-signers of any checks. It authorizes if the county chooses to route their money through the city for it to come to the city and be transferred into that checking account. It also defines the board, and you are on that board. Mr. Wojcik is on the board. Michelle Morgan will be the treasurer and will oversee the review of the checking account and any expenses. And so I'm asking you to approve that, again, just to formalize the way that money will be handled, but it's in compliance with what was discussed when we set the budget.
Any questions? Can I have a motion we adopt?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 27-2016.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Number 4, Resolution 28-216, Carrollton City Cemetery Code Amendment. Mr. Grizzard?
Yeah, we discovered by happenstance that the rules that we were following on our cemetery maintenance and what's allowed to be put in the cemetery didn't actually match the ordinance. And we specifically had a gentleman who wanted to put a fence around a grave, and it makes maintenance almost impossible. And so as we were dealing with that issue, we realized we needed to revise our ordinance, and that's what this resolution does. So it also changes the fees slightly. Peter could address those if you want to know what those are, but they're very minimal. And again, basically, this just cleans up what we were already doing in practice.
Peter, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The main thing that it will change is the fee will go up from $300, and we've asked for $1,000 per plot when you buy a cemetery plot in the city cemetery. And where that number came from, and I talked with y'all, a few of y'all earlier today, was Memory Gardens is an example. They charge $2,400 for a plot. You also have the West Georgia Memorial, which is the one out on Highway 61. They charge $1,300 a plot. What this will help us do is take care of some of these expenses that we have that come through with running that cemetery. We spend probably 3 days a week over there, possibly 4 with the weed eating involved, on keeping that thing clean and manicured throughout the spring, summer months and into the fall and winter. You guys have
How
any
many
questions?
lots do you think you sell a year?
We sell anywhere, Tim, between 60, 70 lots, just depending on the year.
And what kind of life do you think you got left?
We got about 5 years left on the cemetery, and then we'll have sporadically going in. We don't have any more new sections that we're going to be opening up anytime soon. So,
But are there possible sections that could open in the future, or will 5 years be it for the entire?
5 years will be it, Gerald.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So are we looking at prospective lots and places throughout the city, like the one on Martin Luther King? Could that one be utilized? Because it doesn't look full.
Could. The main thing down in the West Carrollton Cemetery is we have certain restrictions that you can and can't go in there, just because we've had burials that have happened in the middle of the night down there, and we have to make sure before we go in and put anybody in that we make sure there's nobody there.
So we've had people coming in the middle of the night.
We've had that happen before, yes.
Right, stealing the grave and just putting the body? Is that what you said?
Yes, correct. And it's happened in the top part too as well. So
Are
we
you
always have to
serious
make sure.
about that?
We can't just go in there. We have to make sure every time.
Jesus Christ.
Now, Peter, you've also got, if someone just can't pay, we do have a provision.
We do have the
for
pauper graves, correct. And we do utilize those throughout the year as well.
Got any questions? for
I
Peter?
do. So, Peter, right now we're at 7. How much is it for a plot? It's called a plot,
It's
right?
$300 right now. We have increased it to $1,000 to meet the other cemeteries that are in the Carroll County area. If you look at the city of LaGrange, they are at $825 a plot. And if you look at city of Griffin, they charge $950 a plot. We got the best gig in town.
For 300 right now, but
Correct.
you're wanting to increase it by $700.
Yes.
What if we meet middle of the road, like say 650?
I am fine with that.
Why don't we bump it to 750?
Somebody might not have 750.
What are the things? How does it work for if people don't have a whole lot of money to be able to pay for these things? What was that?
We've got what we call pauper graves, and if one of you guys requests it or City Manager Tim Grizzly requests it and comes to me and talks to me about it, and shows us someone who's in financial straits, we're more than willing to help. And we've got an area, a section in the cemetery that we use for that purpose.
And we use it quite. We've used it since
used
I've
it,
been in
yes.
office. People have come
Yeah.
to me and we've had to put it
Correct.
in the pauper section.
That's a good.
We have
thing to
no
for the city,
we have
yeah.
no problem using that. I mean, that's what it's set up for. So
Maybe since we have the pauper section, then we go with 1,000.
completely y'all's decision. We're in support of it either way.
Do you find that since we have newer cemeteries around town, I know there's one on Martin Luther King that's private.
Mhm.
There's one on the Villa Rica Highway. What's the number of that? 66 or 60, whatever. it is.
61.
Right.
Mhm.
There's one there, and then there's one out there somewhere. Have you found that there's been a reduction in the amount of new burials in our and purchases of plots?
No, because ours is $300 compared
Yeah.
to 1,200 and 2,300. So
Yeah.
we still get the same amount of traffic either way.
And we're still lower than our neighboring
Oh gosh, yes.
cemeteries.
Yes.
Okay.
We spend on the low end, Mr. Mayor, I would say that we are $75,000 a year. On the high end, probably 100, 110,000, 120 even, as high as that on expenses.
And that's
in that
on
cemetery.
like maintaining the grass and
Personnel,
trees.
yes, correct.
And that's done in-house, right? Not
We end up repairing a lot of graves. If we see some along the way that need repairing, we've done that over the years.
Mhm.
We don't like to make a habit of it. We would rather if you buy that plot, you are responsible for that plot. But for the integrity of the cemetery, yes, we do clean them up.
morbid conversation, but a necessary conversation. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you.
And I second that under the condition that we let the pauper section and exercising of the pauper program, if that's what we want to call it, stay in existence and in place. Does that make sense?
Motion carried. Resolution 29-216, West Metro Regional Drug Enforcement Office Financial Procedures.
As you know, we're the host city for the West Metro Regional Drug Enforcement Office, which is across the road in the old funeral home here. And they do a lot for this area. It's an amazing effort amongst so many different counties and cities. The state has come forward and asked that we adopt their purchasing procedures and their financial procedures. So that's what's before you in this resolution. This does not apply to the city except for the West Georgia Regional Drug Task Force. If you have specific questions, I'm sure Joel can answer those. But again, this is the practices they already had in place. It's what they already do. But the state is asking that the city pass those.
Any discussion?
Does the city spend a lot of money on purchases for this task force, or does that occur?
I have never seen a purchase that the city did for this task force.
But we get to utilize the services because they're right next door. They help out all the time. Is that correct?
We furnish so many officers. The county furnishes so many, and all counties around our area and cities also furnish. Joel, how many total officers are in that program?
We have 3 employees because we have the secretary. They reimburse us 50% through this grant of the salary of that employee. And plus, they provide the vehicles. And we cover about 25 counties.
How many total employees do they have over there? And the guy that leads it works for GBI. Is that correct?
GBI runs that task force. The money just flows through the executive.
It is, and I will tell you that is worth a tour sometime. Joel will have to take you in because you can't just stroll in. But some of the electronics that they have over there are either amazing or scary, depending on your perspective.
Any more discussion? Have a motion?
So move.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any more discussion? All ready to vote? Please raise your hand. Motion carries. Resolution 30-216, bicycle-friendly communities. Ms. Studdard.
The City of Carrollton partnered with the Friends of the Carrollton Greenbelt on this application, and so I'm actually going to turn the microphone over to Martina Griffin. She's the Vice President of the Friends of the Carrollton Greenbelt, and I'm actually going to let her present this item, but I'll stay up here for questions.
Good evening. I would like to talk for a few minutes about the bicycle-friendly community application that we're working on and just introduce the concept to you. We are applying for the certification from the League of American Bicyclists, which is one of the oldest. It's one of the oldest. A little more. Okay. Thank you. We're applying for the certification from the League of American Bicyclists, and they are one of the oldest bicycle associations in the U.S. And what they do is they have a program that focuses on bicycle-friendly America, and every community can apply for the certification for their community. The application focuses on 5 areas: on evaluation, engineering, education, encouragement, and enforcement. And the certificates go from bronze through silver, gold to platinum, and they're valid for 4 years. And the purpose to apply for a certificate, one of the reasons is it gives a validation and recognition to a community that is working on their bicycle, on their neighborhood, being bicycle friendly. It also adds momentum for the bicycle improvements. It strengthens Carrollton's position when forming partnerships and applying for grants that can finance bicycle spurs, like the Greenbelt spurs. It puts Carrollton on a map of safe, active, and health-oriented communities. It evaluates and guides the cities. The Bike Association also provides a report after going through the application, and they can point communities in the right direction if there's something they could work on. And we would be joining 8 Georgia communities involving Roswell, Athens, Athens County, Columbus, Jekyll Island. There are also 6 universities in Georgia that received the bicycle-friendly university certification. And the University of West Georgia is planning on applying in the fall, and they would be joining universities like University of Georgia, Emory University, and Georgia Institute of Technology.
So this just names us as a bicycle-friendly town.
Yes.
Okay, not just. I mean, I think that's monumental. Mm-hmm. That's great. And how close are we to getting those bicycle pod stations that they have in Atlanta now, like in Midtown?
We are within a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
Yes, they're finalizing the signage, and everything's ready to ship. So
and I know this is crazy, but what color will our bikes be? Like the ones in Atlanta?
Our bikes are it's a company called Zagster, and so all of their bikes, if you look online, all of their bikes are the same, and they're white. I think they're with maybe blue writing. Now each of the bikes are sponsored, and so they'll have baskets on them, and the sponsor organizations will have their colors. So
how much is a sponsorship?
A sponsorship for a station is $16,200, and that's a 2-year sponsorship. It's a 2-year commitment, and that includes the station, 5 bicycles, and then 5 additional parking spaces.
Smart idea. I want 2. No, I'm playing. But thank you.
Thanks.
What classification do we expect to, what mark do we expect to hit?
I think being cautiously optimistic, we have a good chance to go straight to silver.
What improvements could we do to help secure that silver ranking now?
Well, I think we could work on our encouragement, and these are typically organized through Bicycle Month, which is month of May, and organizing a bike to work, bike to school day in the community. And they also value greatly the mayor-led bicycle rides through town. So, and of course, the council members too. So, if we could organize an event that is a community event, just to promote bicycling, that would be great.
Done. I mean,
Yep, we're
y'all,
ride. Yep, that sounds like.
let's
a great
go.
idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
As long as the traffic slows down and you don't kill me, we'll be good to go. Goes back to what y'all. Where they go? They're gone now. But
Any more questions? Can I have a motion?
so moved. I move we adopt resolution 30-2 2016 bicycle friendly community.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Assume you're ready to vote. All in favor? 3-0.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just say, Marty is Charles Griffin's better half, so that's a very involved couple and contribute a lot to this community, and I know he's very proud of her. She's doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Number 7, rezoning 406 Bradley Street and 109 East Center Street. Ms. Studdard.
The Planning Commission reviewed this rezoning request in November. This request is to rezone what we commonly refer to as the Stallings House. It's historically known as the Bradley House, from OI, which is Office Institutional, to C1. The intention of this rezoning is so that the house can be adaptively reused as a microbrewery. A couple of things of note on this particular request. The applicant is undergoing, basically it's a historic tax credit project, and so they have gone through the local Historic Preservation Commission to get a COA to get approval for the work that they're proposing on the house. But then they are also, because it's a historic tax credit project, they also have to have state and then Department of Interior, basically national approval as well. This particular project was reviewed in November, and the Planning Commission made a motion to approve this request. And I'm available if you have any questions, and the applicant is also here.
In the recommendation by planning, was it recommended with the staff recommendations of the facade, making sure the pillars and all that stay the way they are? Is that correct?
It was not specifically stated. I would love for you guys to include that. The applicant intends to do that, but just in case it were to turn over or if plans were to change, I would like for that to be in writing. The Corinthian columns fronting Bradley Street are probably one of the most unique features on that property, and also the rounded portico. I know one of the COA requirements was that the basically the front facade of Bradley Street will not change. So if you're looking at it from Bradley Street, the overall facade will not change. The expansion will go off the back.
And what about the cohesion of any new additions to the building? And when I say cohesion, I mean in compliance with historical aspects of the property that we're mentioning right now.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Those additions were reviewed at the November Historic Preservation Commission meeting. They did approve those additions. Those additions are off of the eastern side of the building. They're not noticeable from the Bradley Street frontage. You would see them from Center Street, however.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually located right there on the projector.
Okay, I see. Yes, ma'am. And so it'll pretty much match what's already there. What about that? Is that a zinc roof on that house? Is it zinc? Or slate? Okay, will the rest of it be slate, Brad? Or something that looks like slate?
Actually, one of the principles that the federal government gives you for guidelines on doing these sort of projects is that they want any new construction to be compatible with but distinct from the original building. So there are a number of things that we will do with that back building to make sure that anybody that were to casually view the project could easily tell that the new building was not original, that it was new construction. And so no, the roof is one of the things that would be different.
Okay, but you would keep the front, of course you keep the slate that's in front.
Of course, yes. The main house, the slate roof will just be repaired.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
It's wonderful to see that space getting activated. I know the amount of times I've been called or emailed just saying, what's happening with it? Why is it falling apart? What can we do? So thank you to you for looking to activate that space, put in something that really extends our main street. And thank you. I appreciate that.
I concur.
We're
I'm
excited
about it. I think it's a fantastic idea.
We are too.
Can't wait to watch it spring back to life again. It's going to be neat.
Any more questions? Assuming y'all ready to vote. Does anybody in the crowd want to address it in favor or opposition? Hearing none, I assume we're ready to vote.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution, the rezoning application for Bradley Street with the staff recommendations listed on page 35 of the application.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, likewise. Seeing none, motion carries. Number 8, annexation and rezoning 138 Cottage Hill Road. Ms. Studdard again.
The 8th item on your agenda is an annexation and rezoning of approximately 50 acres located at Cottage Hill Road. The Planning Commission reviewed this request in November, and they recommended approval with conditions of the request by the applicant. The conditions are located on page 67 of your zoning packets. These conditions include basically some zoning conditions that they agree to abide by, and then also some exception requests as part of the zoning. I believe the applicant is here to also speak on behalf of the project, if you'd like to hear from him. And I did want to mention that the concept plan that was provided by the applicant is over to your right, and I think Libby's going to put it up on the screen as well. Right there. So.
I'm Jeff Matthews. This is my partner, John Denny, and we're here this evening for this particular development. And what we'd like to do is give you a little bit of the history. I don't know if any of you remember the Cottage Hill greenhouses, but this piece of property has been in the Brown family. They had some greenhouses up here 50, 60 years ago, and Mr. Brown, Herman Brown, there's actually a windmill on that piece of property, and he had a dairy farm, and in the off season, in his spare time when he wasn't milking cows, he put up windmills, and he built about 31 of them around the county, and this one and one up at Hickory Level are the two that I know of that still remain. But this piece of property originally had the property where the bypass went through, and then Walmart was built on a portion of this property, the current Kroger, where the two motels are. That was all a portion of this original piece of property. They subsequently sold the piece of property where the U.S. Post Office had a bulk mail facility, which is now the Tanner Shipping and Receiving Facility. It's right there. I think I'm right. I may be. Yeah, that's it. And so what we are proposing to do is we want to do an empty nester community. There hasn't been a new residential street in Carrollton, Georgia in nearly a decade. So we want to do a development that we feel like has a pretty good bit of pent-up demand. We have met with the neighbors. There is a cottage landing immediately abuts this piece of property, and they have a 4-acre piece of property on the back that is zoned for future expansion. It's zone C. They have everything. They are okay. They're multifamily, but they do a good job. My mother stayed there for a while, but they have the other end of the spectrum from what we are targeting. We are looking for active adult empty nesters, and we have met with the folks on the adjacent piece of property, which is Cottage Hill Plantation, which has been a very good subdivision. It made it through the last downturn very well, because when a house became open, some of the neighbors called one of their friends and they bought it. And that has been the response that we have gotten in our initial research, that there is a good bit of interest in a development like this. This development will be all private ownership, and it will be HOA, Homeowners Association, will take care of cutting the front and side lawns, take care of pressure washing the exteriors, and cleaning your gutters. So if you want a turn the key and leave it lifestyle, this is where we'd like for you to come. Because we've had a lot of problem in Carrollton in the last few years where you had a foreclosure and the bank doesn't cut the grass, they don't take care of the property. We feel like this concept will eliminate that. It will ensure that someone is going to cut that grass, keep that property presentable, and lien your property if you don't do it, or if the bank doesn't do it. We have done a good bit of work on this piece of property. The family that owns it they've been in the development business and are familiar with it, so it's been a good project. It has been fun to work because it has just basically taken legs. There is a section on the back of the property, I think that is 3 Mile Creek, that runs through there. There are some floodplain areas which we know we've got to stay out of. There is a section down on the lower end that, thanks to the beavers, we have some wetlands, and we have had a wetlands delineation done by a former Army Corps of Engineers employee, and so we know that we've got to stay out of those areas. In the development world, especially in the senior housing or empty nester program, there is a new metric or buzzword, and it's called walkability. And Carrollton has a really good overall walkability score, thanks in large part to the Greenbelt and some of the work that's been done around town. We have talked to the Brown family, and they have agreed to donate an easement to allow us to tie into, and in an attempt to extend the Greenbelt or a walking trail through this piece of property, which would allow a resident here to walk from here to Kroger, from here to Hobby Lobby, from here over to Lowe's and the current Walmart down on the end of Stripling Chapel in 27. They'll even be able to walk to the Fried Green Tomato. So we feel like this is a pretty good sales feature, and we're not doing it out of a sense of altruism. We've looked all over Carrollton to find the correct piece of property for this type development, and we feel like this is it. And as I said, these would be individual, private ownership, all one level with wide doors, stepless showers, the standard features that you see in homes that are geared toward 55 and up. And we've got a list of, basically covenants and restrictions that we have agreed to with the city staff. And in addition, we did meet with the 6 neighbors right here that join Cottage Hill Plantation. That's the only single-family residential that joins this piece of property. And we worked out an agreement with those folks to give them some additional buffer. There is a small ditch. It's probably got water in it today. It didn't have a month ago, but it is an attempt on our part to give those folks a little more elbow room and make us and them better neighbors. But if you've got any particular questions, we'd be glad to try to answer them. Did I leave anything out?
I think you covered it pretty well. Took all of my points. So
I noticed when I was looking at the drawing a while ago that
the 2 things in Carrollton that I think it would be the nearest like, it wouldn't be just like either one of them, but cottages of Carrollton where Mr. Bird lives, and then the one next door, the Cottage Hill Plantation. That would be all the amenities would be oriented toward empty nesters, not children. And at cottages, there is a portion what we were talking about doing, that the homeowner association is responsible for the maintenance of the front yards as well as the common area. And we just felt like that could be expanded a little bit to take some of the load off of who you would expect to be there, empty nesters, seniors, so that it would eliminate their need for getting up on the ladder and cleaning the gutters or renting a pressure washer or something.
Where's the main entrance going to be?
You know, we're thinking that the main entrance would be on that South Cottage Hill Drive simply because the traffic is less there than it is on Cottage Hill. They're showing an entrance also on Cottage Hill. I wouldn't mind if it was eliminated, but Erica doesn't want it eliminated, so it'll probably stay there.
Okay. It looks like you got some quadplexes and duplexes.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be owner occupied.
Yes.
Right. All of the units would be individually owned. No apartment type.
No rental.
I mean, it doesn't mean that somebody couldn't rent their house out. But,
Yeah.
and we're showing the connection to Brock Street. Brock Street doesn't quite touch this property, so that still has to be worked out. There is an alternative there that an entity that Jeff's involved in does touch Brock Street a little further up, so we had to come in that way.
So, John, how many lots are here total?
We're asking for a maximum of 5 per acre, which would give us like 230 or 40. Right now, that is sited at about 220, and there's some portions of that will not work. There's a detention area that actually belongs to, it's on this property, but it services the Crossroads Shopping Center up in the, right up in there. So we know there's lots that will be lost there. There is a drainage easement and a pressure sewer line coming through on a section where there's no lots out there. So I would think to do what we're wanting to do, and we don't know that we'll build any quadruplexes or duplexes. I think it depends on what the rest of the market looks like. Mm-hmm. But to do what we're wanting to do, probably 200 to 210 would be about as much as I would expect that we could get in there.
So this market comp is totally just schematic. It's not
the
correct. Gospel of what you're going to do.
Right. We didn't want to go in with a PUD. This is enough total units that it's a multi-year project. With a PUD, we'd have to come back to you guys for every little change, and we want to be able to adapt to the market. We're very experienced, which means that we know we're wrong sometimes. So, oftentimes.
Yes, sir. I'd like to attest. Yes, sir. I would like to attest to a few things really quickly. One being a homeowner in an empty nesters neighborhood with people who are about twice my age, maybe less than that now. But I certainly encourage this type of development, and it's been wonderful. And I really like my neighborhood. I never see people, I haven't seen a human being in 3 days, and the houses are like that close. So, and oftentimes my visitors.
You need to get out and meet your neighbors more.
Say it again.
You need to get out and meet your neighbors more, don't you?
But anyway, no, I'm playing. I'm sure they're wonderful people. I'm just very busy. We're at 2 different places in our lives too. I'm not retired, so I'm still working. But I say that to say I certainly encourage this type of development. But there are a few things that I think could probably be, and they're not bad. A few things that could be encouraged, and that's more parking than what we have in my neighborhood. Parking is an issue. People parking in the street is an issue. Sometimes you can't get through. If you try to have a party and invite, every time I have a party, my mom and Joel, you can attest to this too, they call the cops on me every time I throw a party because they say I'm blocking the street. I'm like, we have nowhere to park. So if we could address parking in here, our garages are single garages. So if I'm parked in my driveway and I want to drive my other car, I have to pull that one out and go and pull that one out and go park it somewhere and then go find and pull. So double garages would be great, and I'm not sure if you're going to address that at all on here. And I think that was pretty much. Oh, entrances. We probably do need 2 entrances here. We have 1 entrance, and we had an incident a couple months ago where there was a shooter, an active shooter in our neighborhood, and they blocked the entrance, and people couldn't come and go. And sometimes when it rains hard, we can't get out of the neighborhood because we only have 1 entrance. So I encourage 2 entrances. Also encourage additional parking and wider garages for people who have more than 1 car. Because, 2, I represent, I don't have a family, but I know there's people in my neighborhood who aren't 55 and over, and they have kids in college. You know, our houses are 1,800 square feet. That's a pretty decent sized house, and you can raise a family there. So there's other people who live there who have cars. So parking would just be something I'm really, really concerned about.
We have we discussed that actually with Mr. Hunt, John Hunt, that made a presentation to you guys once at a work session, and that we're getting the same feedback, is that it's important to have adequate space, adequate parking.
Yes, sir.
That they just said you don't want to do just 1 single car. So we're on board with you.
Yes, sir. But I'm pleased with the construction and everything, the way it's laid out. I get nothing but compliments. So awesome.
With 220 units on this piece of property, that'll be about the same amount of new units or new building in Carrollton, I think, in the last 10 years. Is that about right? 250-ish? So this is a huge project. When I saw it first, I was very excited to see a development like this. I love the idea of an active lifestyle. I love the walkable area. I know it's a little further out than what I would consider walkable in the community, but you're creating a new little village, and I could see that being an exciting aspect for people. In terms of amenities, I'm seeing a green space here or there, and I was just wondering what amenities are active adults, other than just a trail going around the neighborhood, what are they looking for? And on the note of the trail, would that be part of phase 1 of your building, making sure that your trail does go to attach to Lowe's and to those other spaces?
It would probably have to be done as we went into each succeeding phase, because we're taking this property down from the Brown family, kind of like Johnny Cash stole that old Cadillac, one piece at a time, because we don't want to jump out here and have a raft of empty lots. There's nothing lonelier to a developer than empty lots. And so we would extend it as we went forward, but we are going to try to work with the Brown family to tie it back in on the north side first. And then we're going to have an amenity at the windmill. We're going to save it. That's part of our deal with them, to retain the historic aesthetic feel of that. And we will have an amenity, but it won't be your standard. It'll be more, this age group is more into shuffleboard than basketball, and they're more into playing cards than they are, you know, a lot of other activities. There will be a meeting, gathering area, so that if you're having a family reunion, you could book it and have parking. And we do intend, as each successive phase goes in, we will have pocket parks, and there's been some, you know, we've hired a gentleman that helped design big areas of Peachtree City, Chapel Hill, Mirror Lake, and he's a landscape architect and gets it as far as retaining. There's some significant trees up here in a couple of areas that we would try to save, some little hardwood groves, and so that's pretty much the amenity package. It will be geared toward empty nesters, though.
There was, I think, did you include a picture of the one little pocket park down that we took? That was his design. showed us down toward Peachtree City. And if you look on this, there's several of those little spots stuck around in kind of each neighborhood. That's one of the things that seems to be a really, has a lot of appeal.
Yeah, it's gonna be nitpicky, but are those little courthouses right? I'm gonna stand up. The lower, I mean courtyard, not courthouse. Is this like a home with a courtyard? Home with a courtyard? Is that how it's?
Yeah, those would be the quadruplexes, and yeah, it would be 4 units or 4 dwellings per building. We're still a little bit up in the air on that. The reason we would do them would be to help on the price point for some of the community, and we're not sure it's going to help. So we're having some folks that are doing quads are saying that, well, it's cheaper to do individual detached houses. If that's the case, then we would probably greatly reduce that. The ones up there where he was just pointing are shown as duplexes. But we're just saying a maximum of 50%.
Jeff, you mentioned that all these would be single level properties, including townhomes and quadruplexes. In some of the exceptions requests that you guys put in, you put in that you wanted to waive the vinyl siding stuff and some other distance to the front of the street for some of these pieces. And I know in here we talked about having an architectural control committee. My fear is we look at a development of this size and it gets plastered up with a bunch of vinyl. Can you speak to this architectural control committee?
What we envision, and the reason we're preferring to use vinyl, is because you can wash something a lot easier than you can paint it. And we know that in the past, vinyl has gotten a bad name. We are saying we'll do 20% of brick and stone on the front of each unit. Anything that, is it 30? Yeah. Okay. And but we're not talking about the vinyl that you can wave in the breeze. We're talking, and vinyl got a bad name years ago because people were putting it up over fiberboard with no backing. These houses, to meet energy code, will all be wrapped with OSB board so that anything on it will be it'll have a solid back. It'll be more solid than that wall there, really. So that's why.
Yeah, and we're specifying, and we think it would be a good actually thing if the city would specify in the future that it be the premium 44 mil or more. There's a 44 mil, and there's a 47 mil that has the foam already built onto it. One of those just is stronger, it holds up better, it looks better, it stays true, perform better. But I was just looking today. There's some apartments that I actually built at the end of Bowen Street, those little ones on the right. I went by those. They have vinyl on them, and it was not the premium grade, but that's been 35 years, and it's still holding up good. It hasn't been changed. Just a few little places where something is broken, some pieces. But the premium grade vinyl has a lot more color options, and I'm not saying that we wouldn't use other siding, but we would like to have that option. There was a time when stucco was unacceptable. You could not get a loan on a house. I don't know, Walt, you may remember that, if it was stucco. And the reason was because of some bad product. There was a time, well, today, you can't buy polybutylene because there was a company that had a problem with it, and it started cracking, and it's pulled off the market. So now you use PEX plumbing. But I've probably done 100 houses in polybutylene, and I have never had a single one with a problem. But it's very common that you'll have a problem with some product, and it'll get a bad rap. And if you were noticing when I drove down Longview today, the majority of those houses, other than a few at the end that have asbestos on them, which held up good too, are vinyl now. I mean, there's a few wooden ones that you can see the boards are like this. So we simply think that standpoint of the cost of maintaining for the homeowners association, that vinyl should not be taken off the table. I've had problems with the concrete board, the hardy type board, but it was from one particular manufacturer. And I'm not saying it's all bad.
That's what I was about to ask. What about, because you use James Hardy on mine. What's
that one? There's been no problems with that company. But I'm just saying, any of the products, there can be problems with them.
So Hardy board, the concrete board, is a whole lot. Is it cheaper? I mean, it's vinyl, but
no, it's actually just about the same price. The advantage of the Hardy, of course, is that you can you paint it. So if you want to change the color, you can change the color. You do have more color options for design. You know, pretty much unlimited color options on the Hardy. But it will have to be painted. You know, yours. I think those are what, 12, 15 years.
13 years old, something like that.
Yeah, and they're still pretty good. But the paints are a lot better than they used to be. But they're, you know, we'd just like to have the option of doing whatever seems.
I love that, hearing that 13 years and not having to do any maintenance. I think that for an HOA, that sounds like a really good option, not to have to go out and pressure wash, not to actually have to go do those things because it's there. I'm thinking about the cost per month, especially since it is a multi-phase sort of thing, and not putting all that on the front end for those few properties at the front. My concern is the sort of, if that's all the property going to be at the front, the first phase, people having to drive through that sort of housing, that sort of area, that may, you have to drive through that to get to the largest homes all the way in the very back. Is that correct? Is that the way you guys have kind of had it planned?
Maybe.
I guess that's my fear, is the flexibility of it.
Yeah.
The unknown.
I'll tell you this, the last thing the developer wants is to have some poor quality stuff there while you're still got others to build. So, I mean, we have every incentive and every intention to keep the quality good from the very first.
And the foundation is monolithic, right? It won't, like this one has steps leading up to the door. I know some of my neighbors.
Right, pretty much we will, I think as much as possible, they would be a monolithic slab to keep it closer to grade level.
Awesome.
All of them would be accessible. Yeah, this was an example of some premium vinyl that actually my niece's house, and this has been on there about 10 years. They, you know, she's 40, she's not worried about steps. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I have no issues with the builders or the developers here. I've known them a long time, and their integrity is beyond reproach. They're sinking a lot of money into this, and they're going to do the best they can to make it all go all the way through. Bottom line, it's just, yeah.
We live around here.
They're local. Is there any opposition or anybody want to speak in favor of this in the room with us tonight?
Can I ask again one more thing about the architectural committee? Who's gonna be members of that?
Yeah, I think you had brought that up once, and Erica sent me something on that. What we are proposing is that that the city be able to appoint one member to be on the architectural control committee. The way you typically do it is that the developer would have control of the committee until most of the project was built out. Once you get some reasonable number in there, you normally want to put some representative from the homeowners on there as well, just to get the feedback and to let them stay informed on what was going on. But you know, we like the idea of having the input from the city, frankly. We don't want to be doing something that we don't think works for the city, and we don't want to be doing something that the city is not looking for. We think this is appropriate, and we think this is the type of thing that I understand that I've been hearing is from you guys.
Any more questions?
I'm sorry to keep drilling this down because it's just it is a huge project. It's something that we haven't seen at this sort of scale in years, or at all, perhaps.
Well, I would point out that when you're saying I don't know the number of permits in the last 10 years, but I'll point out that the last 10 years was from 2006 until now, and the collapse was 2007. So you're at a period, for a few years there was almost nothing built. So you're looking at a period that didn't have very much construction, and probably if you looked right before that, it would be skewed the other direction. But I feel certain there's quite a bit of demand that has not been met, especially, I think, some of you may know, the average permit, the house value of the permit in the last year is probably
It's 266 for this calendar year. The peak year before was in '05, and there was 150 some odd homes built then, and the average price was 79,000.
Yeah. So the houses that have been built more recently are, if the average is 260 something, then they're predominantly in a higher price range. We would like to have some upper 100s. I don't know that we can do that. I think we can, but so I think that you're seeing that there hasn't been too much to satisfy that need so far as I can see. I think Corey Lord's building some that I think his are 225, 240, somewhere in that range. Yeah. And it's a different, he's looking at a very different type market from us. So,
Are those using vinyl siding at all over there? Do you guys know?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I mumbled there. I apologize. Are they using vinyl siding over there? Do you guys know on those
I don't know.
property?
Hardy is what?
North Point?
Stonecrest. Or North Point.
No, I believe it's either all masonry or hardy plank.
So that's kind of what the market is asking for. Is that what we're looking at? Is since that's what the market, that's what's getting built, that's what's getting purchased. I know it is at the higher end, but those buildings, those homes are quite a bit larger than what you guys are talking about. If that's what the market's looking for, and if we want to create a standard, I'm wondering if we're looking at now creating a standard for the next 10 years, is that the way we need to start looking at it?
You're saying hardy board?
Yeah.
I like hardy.
Especially with 13 years of not doing anything to it. That's a wonderful
bored with the color, but other than that, you know what I mean?
I'm not opposed to hardy. I'm simply saying, by taking vinyl off the table, I think you're limiting something, especially as far as the maintenance is concerned.
I can tell you what happened because I was here when the change was made, but we dealt with so much low-end product in the early 2000s that I think we took vinyl out of the ordinance as a reaction to just try to bring that quality up. It doesn't mean, again, John had called Erica, and we actually wrote out and took those photographs ourselves of that red house. There is a really good vinyl product. I would not be opposed to it at all. Again, it's your call, but I think what we want is for things to be maintained, and it is a lot more likely to be maintained if you can wash it as opposed to paint it.
And that's the same product. That's the 44 mil.
When we drove up on this house, you couldn't tell it from wood until you got basically to the front door.
Yeah, I took a spin out there earlier this afternoon. It was raining quite hard. I jumped out for a quick second, tapped on the wall, hoped nobody was in there. But no, it does look good. And from a distance, it does. But I guess this is if you look at the architecture of the house, it's quite a nice house. And maybe looking at that architectural committee would help with those sorts of things.
Hardy is very popular right now, but things come and go. And if you look at where siding is being replaced, there's probably as much of it that's vinyl as hardy. And there's nothing wrong with hardy. I'm just saying it's not quite the same from a maintenance standpoint.
I'd like to discuss it more. I know I ask a lot of questions. I know I bug a lot of people with the amount of questions I ask, but
Now's the time to do it, though.
well, I'm wondering if we could. I don't want to continue this meeting on and hold everybody up tonight. I don't know if we could have another discussion after and table it for January.
It would be a problem for us to delay the decision if y'all tabled it, because we have our period for approval runs out actually tomorrow.
John, what if we do this? What if we just move ahead with it, but in our motion to approve, we say no vinyl siding? Will that make you happy, Rory? And is that feasible for you and the builder?
I've seen as much bad hardy planks as I have vinyl. Matter of fact,
as it stands right now, there's no prohibition on vinyl siding for detached single family or townhouses.
Mm-hmm.
The only question would be, and I would really think that, and Eric and I have discussed this, it's other than the quads, and even with the quads, I think there's a real possibility that we wouldn't even fall under that restriction. But it's just a little bit unclear.
In Cottage Hill subdivision, they use vinyl side, brick at the bottom and vinyl at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cousin who owns a house there.
Right.
That's got to be a lot more.
In other words, the only restriction on vinyl is a multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole property being looking at zoning multifamily. And I know the restrictions of the zone or of the property doesn't apply to each building. But that's a lot of properties. That's a lot of properties to have 80% vinyl on the sides of them.
Yeah, but the material they're making nowadays is nothing compared to what we were thinking about back in the early 2000s. John's done his homework, and he's going to use the best quality materials he can put on it.
And I understand that. I guess my fear is we make this exception. John wins the lottery and decides I don't want to build this right now, and the next person moves along.
I told Erica I don't buy lottery tickets. I've never bought one in my life. And if I did, if I had that, I would still be doing this project. One of the things that I think that we would be doing anyway, and if you wanted to make a condition, is that we would not have vinyl on the bottom. You know, the real risk for the vinyl is hitting it with something at the bottom. And we normally would have some level of either hardy or masonry or something that's the last foot or two. And I don't mind specifying that. And I hate to be arguing so much for vinyl because I don't even know that that's what we would use. But I just hate to have it taken off the table as a possibility.
Well, I live in a product of what you stand for. And I know vinyl has gotten a bad rap in the city of Carrollton. And I do believe in technology, and I do believe in the improvements that you're speaking of. And since you're saying that nothing is going to hit against this, and the bottom section of the house is not exposed to a weed eater and things such as that, right? And there's going to be a buffer between the vinyl itself and the fiberboard. You say there will be ODF or MDF?
OSB.
OSB.
It's like it's what's commonly used instead of plywood now for the roof deck and bracing and so forth.
And so it won't be as it has been in the past where there's no buffer between the two materials. Rory, I know you disagree with this, but I'm gonna have to be in favor of it because I'm gonna have to trust you, and in hopes that you'll continue to produce a quality project.
We certainly expect to.
Can I ask for, Erica, you mentioned something about the architectural committee, about the city having some sort of a veto on it. Is that correct?
You know, I sent you some conditions.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
look at page 68 in your packets, he sent me some additional conditions for the Architectural Control Committee as far as the organizational requirements go. You know, one of the biggest concerns is, and it's what happened, I think, when the economy bottomed out, is things were foreclosed on and then they were sold out from underneath possibly the original petitioner. One thing, these conditions, it basically accounts for that. If that were to happen, then basically all of the control of the Architectural Control Committee would revert back to the city. So we would be able to review basically all of the plans that come in before they're built. On the original committee, they've got 3 members, one of which is either a city employee or someone who is designated by the city. And then the original 2 developers. After 25% of the homes are sold, it does start to transition towards basically the owners within the subdivision. You know, I'm comfortable with that, with the owners having ownership of what's being built. I feel like that's fairly common with HOAs and that sort of thing. But the biggest, like I said, the biggest concern I had originally was what happens if it's sold or, you know, heaven forbid he wins the lottery or gets hit by a bus. I have to use that one. But the latter one wasn't as nice. But so I mean, like I said, I feel good about it. If we wanted to do veto power on the vinyl, that might be something. That way we could really look at that. I mean, that might be a you know, something we could do as far as the materials. I'm not traditionally. I haven't supported vinyl. I just, you know, when I think of vinyl, I think of probably what Rory, Councilmember Wojcik, is normally kind of envisioning, and I had that same thought, so I had to actually go look at it for myself to see. It's not something that's a personal preference of my own, but I can see why a property owner might want it. I think as long as it's that 44 mils, it's not going to be done as a cost-saving measure. In other words, it's not basically because it's not value engineered out of the project, in other words. And if somebody wants it because of the, you know, like I said, the durability and the maintenance, and like I said, as long as it's the higher quality vinyl, I feel better about it. I do.
Could you talk to us a little bit about timeline and the percentage of build out based on that timeline?
Jeff may have to come back up here with that too, but I think the best we could hope for would be 5 years, and I guess I would be disappointed if it took more than 7, 8, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we do plan to stay with it if it takes 12, 15 years. And as far as what Rory was probably wanting to avoid saying was, suppose I drop dead or get hit by a bus or something instead of win the lottery. Either one of us has enough experience I'm confident either one of us is capable of continuing.
And I know the market in this type of housing is very strong because my neighbor, who's a professor at the university, just sold hers in about 2 days. And the for sale signs stay up in my neighborhood for a very, very short amount of time. Anytime a person
and we think
passes
there would be, I mean, I talked with a lady today that had just moved to Carrollton in the last 2 or 3 months from Gwinnett County. Her daughter was working at Southwire and she had retired. And it's just, you know, we think there will be some market of people that are coming in that are not currently living in Carrollton too.
Yep.
And that's what the gentleman that's building quadruplex is doing very well up below Douglasville. He said they're getting them from all around, all over Metro Atlanta.
Thank you, John. Any more questions? Hearing none, I'm assuming you're ready. Yes, sir.
One thing that they talked about was the traffic that goes through, and they talking about putting the green belt. You got the city school right there, you got the senior living, and the traffic that goes through there is pretty heavy walking now. So you saying that they're going to create a green belt that goes through an empty nest community and allow the public to access their community and walk straight through to Walmart, to Kroger, to wherever they want, access to Greenbelt to get right through empty nest community. So I just wanted to see how's that going to be handled with a homeowner association in place, and you got all these kids, people they don't know about in the neighborhood, in the houses. How are they going to handle that aspect?
If the project is the green belt, it's certainly open to all members of the public. First off, and secondly, the easement would be deeded to the city of Carrollton, and the green belt would be, maintained as such. So, the project would certainly, like I said, the green belt that would run through this project would be open to the public, absolutely. And
How
the
far
surrounding
along
community.
the line does it go into the property?
All the way to the Lowe's shopping center as it's proposed. So it would come in along the Cottage Hill entrance, and the closest tie-in, if that makes sense, would be at Ben Scott Boulevard, and kind of right there near the bypass in Ben Scott Boulevard, right there at Tabernacle.
And it would get built in phases as the properties get built. Is that, you guys kind of said that earlier? That it would get, the greenbelt would continue to be built out as the phases are built out towards Lowe's.
Yes. Similar to sewer payback.
Probably needs to be discussed just a little bit. We had talked about, in the past, we have done payback agreements with developers when they ran a significant amount of off-site utility. And what that meant is not for the on-site, but for the off-site. As taps were sold, we reimbursed their cost for the off-site only. We talked about doing something similar for the off-site portion of this greenbelt. The reason we would want to do that is we want to be able to encourage greenbelt spurs as other developers come forward. So again, we're not talking about the portion in their property. We're talking about the section off their property. They would be fronting the money, and as they built a house, as a building permit was sold, we would rebate some money back to them to pay for that spur. And I would recommend that. I think that's a good policy, and it's something that would be applied all over the city.
And it's listed as one of the conditions as well.
It's the 44 mills. Is that supposed to be one of the conditions too?
Yes, it's in the conditions as well. It's listed as 44 mills on page 67 in your under the exceptions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do see it. Never mind.
Nowhere. Still in there.
I really feel strongly about that piece. Not to try to get into what the market's doing or what developers are doing in the city, but really looking at this is a huge project, and I'd hate to see it not continue throughout the phases because of the front end not being what the city wants. That's my one concern. Or not my one. I think I've mentioned a few. That's one of my concerns. Can I include that in the motion? I have a veto power on the committee.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to define it, though. I mean, who has the veto power and over what, and how is it exercised? So, I mean, I don't know if you want me to try to do that now.
I'm thinking, and nothing's coming to me right off the top of my head, but I'm trying to. I think I understand your concern, and it's one of the reasons why it worked its way in the ordinance. I feel a lot better after seeing the higher quality vinyl, especially, like I said, especially as old as it was. The vinyl that Tim and I drove out to see today, and I guess you saw too in the rain. Chuck, I'm at a loss.
And I want to make sure I understand the proposal. The city would have the veto over the use of vinyl as siding.
I think I think Councilmember Wolchuk wants to make sure that the quality is not sacrificed in the construction.
Yeah.
By the use of the vinyl.
Yep. I want to make sure that you can put in the porches, put in the usable porches in the front and sides that you're looking at. I know that was mentioned in here. I would just hate for those aspects, because there is a whole lot of unknowns. Those aren't defined in here, porches or anything else like that.
I'm sorry, which aspects are not?
Porches, usable porches and stuff like that. They're not defined as here's what you have to have, and that's my concern is when building, and then it's just vinyl, not just vinyl. But when there is vinyl as a piece of building material, I worry that would be some other pieces just be removed, and we could end up then with a huge project that, a one-story Bristol Lake's just 2 doors down.
I don't think I really understand what your concern is. I would like to say, though, anytime you do something like this, you cannot totally remove risk. I mean, we can't remove. We would like to remove as much risk as possible for us, and I'm sure that you, on behalf of the city, rightfully on behalf of the city, would like to minimize the risk. But there is always some risk involved, and I don't know how to mitigate completely the risk. I know that if we don't build a good project, it's not going to work. We already have money in it. We will have a lot of our own money in this. We have much more incentive than any of you guys to make it really quality and to make it work. I don't know how to remove all the risk. I mean, what I would expect is on porches, you wouldn't probably, that's where you would use your masonry. I don't know how much detail we need to go into on that, but that would be my expectation, that on the porch area, that's where you would use some of the masonry at least. And I don't know if that's what is that what you're talking about? That
or just the cost savings. Those sorts of things do go back into usable porches and gables and other things that improve the attractiveness of that development.
And I guess we were trying to come up with a way of defining, because Erica had brought this up. A lot of them we're looking at have porches that had room for a rocking chair or two on it, and without saying porches have to be minimum of 7 feet or this, that, and the other, or that we were trying to just come up with a way of saying we'll have a significant porch, but depending on design, I hate to be so blocked in on design. We want it to look good. I don't want to have something that keeps us from making it work well.
Oh, Chuck, wouldn't it be true that if they came forward with plans that we felt did not meet the intent of some of these more vague requirements, we just won't issue the building permit? I mean, I think that's the way I see this going down. If they come to, and it's going to be Erica, if they come to Erica with a set of plans and the porch she feels is too small, she's going to say, I don't think that met the intent of this rezoning, and we're not going to issue the permit. So as long as
That's not usable.
yeah, as long as the right person is in her job, we would be protected.
And the issue with the porches is really more of basically, that is an amenity in itself for the residents. I mean, when you've got the smaller lots with smaller yards, you do want to be able to have folks be able to enjoy outdoor spaces, and that's why the porch, we've spoken about this a good bit. The porch is almost more important to me than the materials, because I think that's where you get the enjoyment of actually living there. So
It's part of the design, which becomes very important too.
Thank you.
Nothing else.
Anything else? I'd like to make a motion we adopt this plan and rezoning as presented by the Planning and Zoning Committee.
with the additional requirements of the Architectural Control Committee as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And I second that motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries 2-1. Thank you, Miss Erica. Number 9, Resolution 31216, Caffey Building Transfer. Tim?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There is a building called the Harry Morgan Building on Fulbright, which is near the city school complex. It has been occupied by the Caffey organization, which is based out of LaGrange, and they provided Head Start, which is early intervention for children and daycare for children in that facility for a number of years. The city actually holds title to the property because it was built with a CBDG grant. I think it was built around 05, if memory serves me right. I think I came to work here in 04. It's one of the projects that was going on when I first came here. The city school system desires to take over that building and move the Burwell program into the building. The Burwell program is for I want to use my terms right, I would say emotionally challenged special needs children. Currently, they're in the old school off Alabama Street behind the water park. The state, and again, I'm sure Mr. Albertus would like, or Dr. Albertus will speak to this in more detail, but the state is pushing them to find a better facility. The Burwell program is a cooperative agreement between Carrollton City Schools, Carroll County Schools, and Heard County Schools. And again, the city's involvement in this is we hold title to the building because of the grant. Trent North called us all together. He's a board member of CAFE, and he called us all together on Friday and made a proposal that the city transfer this property to the city school system. The city school system would absolve the city of any liability pertaining to repayment of the grant or any liability at all. We would quit claim the property to them. They are going to make some concessions to the CAFE organization, and the county, Carroll County itself, is going to put some money into the program. And again, those concessions and that money does not affect this city. The resolution before you is simply states that the city would convey title to the city school system in exchange for them absolving us of any liability. I believe there's also a plan for the city school system to give the current Burwell location to a newly formed organization that may develop it for a community center. And again, Dr. Albertus can speak to more detail.
Yes, thank you. This has been a process that started late summer when the State Department of Education notified us that we, along with about 12 other GNet sites, that's the Burwell program equivalent around the state, needed to move their programs. There's a lot of background on it, but if a building was so many years old, they requested that each area around the state move their kids, and actually they did it about 11 days before the start of school. So we requested a extension, and so we could find a suitable place to move the kids. And these are some of our most fragile kids in the community. A lot of them severe autism. A lot of them have been abused when they were younger. And this particular location over at Alabama Street, we have we're in charge of that building, and it's pre-K through 8th grade. And then the Carroll County school system houses our Burwell program for 9 through 12th grade, over in the backside of Central High School. And I think that arrangement has been working for 20 plus years since moving the original program from Burwell to Burwell Community out near Bowden to these two locations. And we would be moving our younger kids over to the Harry Morgan building. And this whole thing is a consortium between Carroll County School System, Heard County, and Carrollton City. And the percentage of kids that make up this is probably we have about close to 60 kids in the program, pre-K through 8th grade. Probably around, they come and go, but probably around 40 kids from Carroll County, 8 or 9 from the Carrollton City School District, and then 6 or 7 from Heard County. So we share, the three systems share, and we have the 2 locations. But as far as this situation goes, we really needed to move them into a more updated space. The Harry Morgan building has about 11 classrooms. The building was made for younger children. We will have to do a little bit of upkeep or upgrades to the technology and whatnot to the building, but this would serve our Burwell kids programs and serve a portion of our kids in the community well. Just we've worked with the CAFE organization, and we've also obviously had help from the county commissioners, and Mr. North has spearheaded that. Do you have any questions, specific questions? Okay, thank you.
Assume you're ready to vote.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 31, 2016.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Number 10, 2017 calendar of mayor and council meeting dates. Tim?
Okay, last item, we passed a resolution in January of this year that said the mayor and council meetings would be the first Monday of every month. Obviously, there are some conflicts with doing that, and we've had to reschedule several meetings. What you have before you is a calendar that will set all of the meetings for the calendar year 2017, and it anticipates holidays and it also anticipates school breaks. So we should not have to change that calendar going forward. And the reason we need to do this in December is because January 2nd is a holiday. So I have a calendar before you. I'm asking that you approve that for our meeting schedule for the calendar year 2017.
May I say that I like the idea of having this calendar ahead of time. I think it's wonderful, and certainly we'll make it public, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I will also form that into a motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Calendar has been adopted. 3-0. Mayor and council announcements.
Yes, sir. Mayor and Mayor Hollingsworth and Councilmember Woldick, I would like to, Libby has some pictures. I would like to, first of all, thank the city staff for all their hard work and certainly to our first responders at the fire department and the police department as well. And Tommy, everybody, you guys have done a phenomenal job. A couple days ago, I read a proclamation and I forgot the rundown of all the people who spoke there. There were people from the Dr. Stocks, you were there with us. There were people from the governor's office there, from the from Washington, and so on and so forth. For Narva Ferris's funeral, which was held at Tabernacle the other day, our condolences to his family and to everyone involved in that ceremony. So thank you to the city staff for supporting me in that endeavor and for helping us offer condolences. To Chief Joel Richards, I almost feel like standing up saying this. Chief Joel Richards helped me put together a program we called Face to Face, where we brought inmates into the West Carrollton area to speak to children of the community. We had 60 kids show up that day, and pizza was provided and lunch, and it was absolutely phenomenal. There he is right there. We're also featured on the front page of the paper. What's the officer's name? I can never remember his last name. Starts with an M. Mike McDowell. Officer McDowell spoke to the children as well. We had a wonderful time, and as I said, a wonderful turnout for our early Saturday morning at West Carrollton Center. Dr. Stocks was also in attendance there as well that day. And we've got nothing but positive reviews on the conversation between inmates and our youth that day. And Jingle Bell Rock was Saturday over in Legends West. I would like to thank everyone for coming out. We made sure that every child there went home with an armload of books, and we read stories and had hot chocolate and a great time with the university and their college girls rock program at Legends West that day. Libby, do we have another slide? Oh, and I'm so proud of our annual report cover, which I guess Peter made the magic happen behind that, and his staff over at the rec department. Those are two cellists who played at Legends West, and those girls play all the time, and they're magnificent, and I think they represent hard work and dedication and perseverance. Certainly they could be doing other things, but they chose to play the cello, and they play all the classics from Strauss to Tchaikovsky. I don't know if I'm right in saying Tchaikovsky, but they can play a lot, and I'm certainly proud of them, certainly proud of that cover, and glad of all the work that the rec department is doing, and certainly proud of the gardens that we're about to plant at Legends West and other things that involve our community and bonding together and forming that wonderful bond that we have here inside the city of Carrollton. Mike Green, I've got to praise you. I don't know, Libby, can you zoom into this picture? This is the first day we had rain, and as you know, I feel like the weatherman, but as you know, our streets were flooded that day, and there was a woman on Facebook who was complaining about the city, and she had tried this and tried that. I said, well, you forgot to try one thing. You didn't call me. So I called Mike, and right away Mike sent crews out. And look at this man, waist deep in rain and mud and muck. So I applaud certainly Mike and the crew for jumping on this immediately. This was just a few minutes after her initial complaint and call to me. Oh, okay. But okay, this was a few minutes after the initial complaints and calls to me about the flooding and the issue concerning some kind of storm drain or something in that area. But look at that man, waist deep in muck. And I think that picture alone, I mean, we need to blow that up and put it on the front of City Hall. It shows the type of dedication that we have in our employees here and the hard work that they put in every day. And I'm certainly glad that they do the types of things that I would never do. Even if you held a gun to my head, I would never do that. But I'm so glad they're out there doing that. And I think they deserve a little bit of applause right now. Do I pass the mic down, or do I pass it back to you? And those are all the council comments I have. And on behalf of myself and I guess everybody up here, I would like to wish all of our citizens a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Feliz Navidad, Joyous Noel, Bon Natale, whatever it is you celebrate. Happy to you.
I just want to say, first off, thanks to the city staff for putting up with me for the past 8 months being councilman up here. I really appreciate all the patience you guys have shown me and the information sharing, the communication. And yeah, it's been a pleasure working with not just city staff, but leadership, Mayor Hollingsworth, Councilman Byrd, and along with our absent councilmen. It's been wonderful. I've learned a lot, And I really appreciated everything. And to everybody here, thanks for putting up with me asking all those questions and that last resolution too.
I want to say it's been a good 2016. I think we've accomplished a lot of things for the city. I want to wish the staff Merry Christmas and great job that y'all always seem to do. Thanks to the council and what they put in. Chuck sits over there and he's quiet a lot, but he adds a lot to he adds a lot of color to the program a little bit. And Merry Christmas.
You'll notice the last resolution you passed this year was 31. That's got to be a record for this city. That shows how hard y'all have worked and how much work you've done. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank the staff. I just can't say enough good things about our department heads and our managers and our staff. I also want to introduce our new HR manager, Faith Pullins. Faith, if you'd stand up, she comes to us from 20 years from Wayne Davis Concrete, Walt's competitor, and then several years with the Pregnancy Resource Center. And she's very talented and very experienced, and we're glad to have her. We appreciate the job Libby did in that job, but we're excited about what Faith's going to do. So thanks for being here tonight. And Merry Christmas to everyone.
Hearing no more business, we're adjourned.